Alright, this is the second one in the energy series. So if we remember back to Coconut Man, he was harvesting 3 coconuts per day. That was his bare minimum. And, well, that's what he was using. And some days he was able to produce, for a while there, he was producing 6 coconuts per day. So this one goes on to be, this is his surplus here, which is, he can use discretion with what he puts that to. But this is his like baseline amount, or his break even. This is his break even. Oops, even. And this is his sort of base usage that he has to keep using. So if this goes to next day's production, and next day's production is another 6. And that lot there again, he's got to have a minimum of that. That's what he's running on. That's the power of Coconut Man's running on the power of 3 coconuts. But now he's got another 3 spare, and so on and so forth. So now let's just take an example where Coconut Man used up 3 coconuts, but imagine he was able to produce 33 from that coconuts. So 3 of those goes down to be his next day's worth of food, like this was, and he can go and produce another lot of coconuts. But then there's 30 coconuts left over, and each person, like Coconut Man, runs on 3 coconuts, so that's 10 people's worth of energy that he's made extra. And this is what happened from the transition from hunter-gatherer to peak agriculture. We were able to put out more and more, like one person was able to make more food, so then that meant there was able to free up people that didn't have to be involved. So these 10 people don't necessarily have to be involved in food production, which then allows them to do things like make tools, or like breed animals or something like that. And then those 2 things come back around, feed in, and we start using animals and tools in the food production process, and it becomes more productive. You get more productivity out of the process, and then you free up more surplus. So that's an expansion on the concept we've been talking about from the start. And then that's where your wealth comes from. You start getting more productivity, it starts making more surplus, you start getting more wealth. Now let's imagine then, in this case here, or the one thing I mentioned, put in the title but I didn't expand on, we're talking about the history and a thing called EROEI. That stands for Energy Return on Energy Investment. So here, each time, if we just call this like 1 unit of energy, Coconut Man was getting 2 of those units back. So his energy return on energy investment was 2. For 1 he get 2 back. In this case over here, it's about 10. This is a really, really important concept for our society. So in like temporary, like modern economies, 1 person can make enough food for 100 people. So the equivalent of 300 coconuts. So we're still talking about coconut as everyone's energy source. But that gives us a false sense, oh, the energy return on energy investment must be 100 then. For 1 unit here, he's getting 100 sort of units back. Except that's only part of the story, because what happens is the machinery that we use, the tractors and so on, well, they use the equivalent. Obviously, a tractor doesn't run on coconuts, but if we convert the energy in the coconuts and the energy in the tractor to equivalent, the tractor uses about 150 coconuts worth of energy. So really, now we're using, like, you know, if you add these 2 together, 153, and we're getting 300 out. So we're back in the realm of only having the energy return on energy investment of 2. Like, this is twice what these 2 combined is, in rough terms. So, and in terms of fossil fuels, if we're looking at them over time, each sort of fossil fuel deposit has, like I call them, an in situ productivity, which in the case of energy ones, is the energy return on energy investment. And over time, we've used up all the good ones, and we're going down. So in each kind of era, we're getting forced to use the worst ones, which have lower energy return on energy investment, which is essentially because this will feed into, later on you'll find out in my other presentations, this feeds into productivity. And as we learned from Coconut Man, productivity is a proxy for wealth. And if this is driving productivity, then, and this is decreasing, then your wealth is going to decrease as well. So these are very important concepts for us to understand. And this is very advanced stuff. And I'm going to I've got one more little episode to talk about, but I'm going to sort of stop that on energy at the moment. And we'll just have a bit more of a look at surpluses and discretionary surpluses and stuff like that. And just get more of a background on that for how our economy runs before we go into further expansions on economics.